Microeconomics students, hi, Catherine Robertson here, your instructor. Okay, so we are rounding out week 4 in our Eco 102 class. Um, Again, this week you have one chapter for homework, and what else do we have? And the midterm exam that I see a lot of you have already turned in. So that is really a great option for you there, week 5. Okay, so in week 5, we're starting to cover different types of marketplaces. And why are marketplaces important? Well, the 4 main marketplaces that we talk about, perfect competition or a perfectly competitive marketplace, monopolistic competition, and oligopolies and monopolies. So there are 4 different types of marketplaces. Now, why is it important to know what type of marketplace your industry is operating within? Well, each one of those is an ideal, right? And has an ideal set of characteristics, much like rules that you play by in that game. So, just to make a sports reference, soccer has rules, some of which are similar to football, American football, but not that many, right? You show up to a soccer game, you use your feet, the ball looks a certain way. There are certain rules that you can't touch the ball with your hands. You play quarters or halves. You shoot the ball into a net. There's a goalkeeper, etc. There's specific positions, specific number of players, a whole specific set of rules that are very different from football, which is also a sport. And you have to be in shape, right, for all the sports. But so there's some commonalities. But in football, there's a different set of rules. You have the rules as to how you move the ball forward. You need to go 10 yards for a first down. You have an offense and a defense that are in at different times. You kick the ball to make a point. You get 6 points if you 6 points. I think it's 6 points if you score a touchdown. You punt the ball a certain time. So there's a different set of rules. So you're not going to show up to a football game and try and play football with soccer rules. And there's also rugby, lacrosse, what other sports? Tennis, right? They're all sports and they all involve some sort of ball and some sort of offense, defense ish. But they all have very different rules, and you play by the rules of that specific sport. And so it's very similar when we're talking about organizations or industries and how you operate. So if you are in an industry, your product, your company that operates in a perfectly competitive marketplace, there are a set of rules that go along with playing in that marketplace, right? Acting in that marketplace, operating in that marketplace. And those rules are good because of all the uncertainty that's involved. The one thing that is certain is there are specific rules for operations in perfectly competitive marketplace. And there are a set of rules if you are in, or your product or your industry is in, or your company is operating in a monopolistically competitive marketplace. There are rules if you are operating in an oligopoly, rules that you play by, right? Compete. Rules for competition in those areas in a monopoly. And so it's very important to kind of know where you're operating. Now, each one of those is a very specific reference point that's really an ideal. And so there are lots of gradients, if you will, of perfectly competitive marketplaces. Some are very close to the ideal. And so they play by the rules very closely. Others are somewhat perfectly competitive, and so the rules pertain to them less than if you are right by the bullseye, right? Very perfectly competitive marketplace. And the same with monopolistically competitive, oligopoly and monopoly. So that's why it's important to know what type of industry you are in, or to identify what type of industry you're in, because it helps you be more successful as a company, because you understand what rules and what kind of the guidelines are of the marketplace that you are operating within. So, and I have mentioned before, Khan Academy does a wonderful job. This is one of my favorite. Khan Academy, of all the things that I've used it for, I feel like it most aligns with microeconomics, in particular with understanding the different types of marketplaces. The way that I have always explained the marketplaces, Khan Academy explains it almost exactly the same. And so in week 5, we start to talk about perfectly competitive firms and also a monopoly, and then we move into in week 6 talking about oligopolies and monopolistically competitive marketplaces. Now, you will notice there is the first video, short video from Khan Academy in this week 5 is one based on monopolistic competition and oligopolies. However, that video, I believe it's about 8 minutes long, shows you the graph, the X and Y axis that we use to plot all 4 marketplaces on. And so I feel like this video is more all-encompassing. We'll use it for next week, but it's also all-encompassing of all 4 marketplaces, kind of to set the stage for you. So you'll see that there for your first video. And you're always welcome to explore all the microeconomic topics on Khan Academy if you need another layer. All right, and so that is week 5. We'll be talking about those 2 marketplaces. And there are some homework questions there for you to start to look at and look at the characteristics of marketplaces, in particular monopolies and perfectly competitive marketplaces in this week. Week 4 is wrapping up. If you have not turned in your midterm exam, please do so soon in order to have there till tomorrow night, 11:59 p.m. Do I? No. Or is it tonight? Let me look and see. Tonight, 11:59 p.m. If you are struggling, let me know. To receive full credit for your exam and have it be marked on time, it needs to be in by tonight. But you still get quite a bit of credit if you happen to turn it in late. So remember, turning homework in late is better than not turning it in at all. You still get quite a bit of credit. Those of you that have turned in things late already, as much as I would like them to be on time, you do see that you are still getting quite a bit of credit for those items. Okay, so I will be posting some, and I don't know if I ever did last week, posting PowerPoints, my voiceover PowerPoints here shortly, but the static ones are up and running. And as you will see, much of the week 5 materials are already up there. And so if you want to go ahead and get started on the week 5 materials, by all means, you can always reach me at 814-490-6473 or crobertson@ec3pa.org. If you are struggling or just want to discuss more microeconomics.